Hi, and welcome back to yet another video of n8n Beginner Series. And in this video, we are going to create our first AI agent together. Now, before we get into how to create an AI agent, we would see what this AI agent does. So this is an AI agent that is connected to your Jira, and it is going to fetch any update that you have made in your Jira project, fetch that information, pass it to OpenAI chat model, create test cases, and that test cases would automatically be created back into your Atlassian and linked to your task or story. So let's see how this actually works first before we see how did we build it. So I do have a project here and I have some test cases tasks here. Now, whenever any update is made to any of these tasks, it would actually trigger this particular agent. It would fetch all the information what I have in the ticket. So if I open this particular ticket, it's a task to validate login with valid credentials. It has a description, some acceptance criteria, some notes and assumptions, and it is going to build test cases based on what is mentioned in the task. So how this actually works is, let me execute my workflow. Whenever my workflow is executed, it waits for an event to be triggered in Jira. So I'm going to pass this to the done state. And that's the filter that I've put, that it is going to fetch the task that is complete. Once I put any task into complete state, you can see now my AI agent has started working. It is reading whatever is there in that ticket and creating test cases by using OpenAI chat model. I can use any other chat model as well. But for sake of simplicity and also because I get free credits on OpenAI chat model, I've used that. Once it has created that particular test cases, generated test cases, it is going to format it using a code in JavaScript and create an issue in Atlassian. Now I'm going to switch my screen back in Atlassian to see an update that would be made here, that the test cases would be created and linked to this particular task. So let's see if this is finished. It's still creating an issue. Now it's finished. So it created total 14 items, as you can see here. Let's go back and see. So this over here, you can see this is where everything has been created. Over here, you can see. So all these things have been created over here, all the test cases. Login with invalid password, login with invalid username, login with both username and password invalid, submit with blank username, submit with blank passwords. All possible test cases that can be created have been created. Now let's get into and see how we can create an AI agent like that. So first thing first, you need to do a connection with Atlassian. As for this particular video, I've created a webhook. So the way to do that is you go into your project, you go into your system settings. Over here, you can see manage general configuration. That would land you up over here. You scroll down to webhook section and you create a webhook here. Now, why a webhook? You can also skip creating a webhook, but what the webhook would do is it would be a webhook in Jira would be like, hey, something just changed. Here's the data. So whenever there's a change, it's going to like send that information out instead of n8n constantly asking Jira, did something change? Did something change? Because that way it's going to be slow. But webhook would make it faster and it would not waste API call because it would let n8n know whenever there is an issue update. So once you create the webhook, you would get an option to also create a secret key from here. And that secret key you have to put over here. So here you can see I've put my username, you have to put your secret key and you have to do the authorization. Okay. So once you, this one, okay. Yeah, so you have to put your API token, your domain, and that's when you would connect to your Atlassian. Once you do that, you would take a Jira trigger. Your credentials would start showing up here. And I've put up that event as issue updated. You have other event as well, comment updated, comment created. Say, for example, I only want to create test cases when someone has commented that create test cases. So I would put create comment updated as the event and then filter what comment they have put. So it's going to pull an event from the Jira, and this is what the information of that event is going to look like. Now I'm also filtering because I do not want to create test cases for everything, whereas I only want to create test cases when the type is task or it is marked as complete. And here is where I can also put the condition as when the comment is this or when the comment is that. So I can put multiple conditions based on whatever my criteria is. Now, once I do execute the steps, it is going to keep one item or discard one item depending on it is passed or no. For me, you can see here, if I scroll down, it would show the login credentials. Okay, here you can see validate login with valid credentials. That's the summary, right? So it has extracted that. Now, once I've extracted that, I'm just doing an edit field, and that's just to store the issue key because I also have to link the test cases back to that issue key. So if you see here, this is PM51 and all test cases have been linked. So I'm just kind of trying to store that issue key to use it later when I'm creating the issue. So I'm just storing it using edit field. Now this is AI agent. AI agent, I'm passing a chat model. I can also pass a memory or a tool. I have not passed it for this particular scenario, but yeah, and it is as simple as going here, typing agent, or just selecting this particular thing, selecting AI agent, and over here, then you can start putting other stuff. Like you can connect your chat model, and my chat model can be Anthropic, Azure, AWS, Google Gemini. When you use OpenAI in n8n, you would get some free credits, and that's the whole reason why I've used OpenAI chat model here. Then I'm just doing some editing. And why am I doing those editing? To bring it into a certain format, because currently the data that comes out of the model looks something like this. Over here, you can see. So this is how the output of the model looks like. And this is the parsed output. So I've just did json.parse, and I'm just parsing that particular output. Now the output looks like this. Now, just to beautify the output a bit from this, I've written like a small code that it just cleanses the JSON and makes it looks like title, steps, expected result, as well as the story key, which is the one that we extracted. So now the output looks clean. It has title, it has steps, it has expected result, and it has a story key to maintain the linkage. And then I'm using a create an issue node from the node panel to just mark it as subtask, pass the title from here. All I'm doing is just drag and drop like this. And in the description, I'm passing steps and expected result. And if you scroll down, in parent issue key, I'm passing the story key so that that linkage is maintained. And by connecting all of this, my agent is ready. Now, I'm also going to show how easy it is to create an AI agent. As I said, you can trigger it however you want. You can use it to trigger. You can also use a chat, right? So for example, I say I want to trigger it on chat. Let me select the trigger thing. On chat message, I want to trigger it. Okay. I can also make the chat publicly accessible. Once I do that, if I copy this particular thing and I open it, it would be a chat that's publicly accessible. Currently, it's not because I've actually not published this thing, or it's not like up out there. That's why it's currently not showing as accessible. Once I publish this, it would be accessible. And then over here, I can also have an AI agent. So all you have to do is you can just select an agent over here, and you would have an option that you would want a connected chat trigger node, or you want to use an expression to reference data in previous node. So you would have an option. I would just leave it as it is. Now in the chat model, as I said, I'm using OpenAI because you get some free credits, but you can also use Anthropic. You would have to set up the credentials. And for that very reason, I'm not going to use Anthropic for this particular video. Instead, I'm going to go with OpenAI, because credentials for those I have already set up. You can see n8n free OpenAI API credits. Once you sign up, these API credits would also be accessible for you. And for now, I'm just going to do this. I would also have an option to, let me just minimize this and bring it all on top. Yep. To like put some memory, okay? For the sake of simplicity, we can just go with simple memory and like let it remember a few of the chats. So this is context window length, like how many past interactions I want my model to remember. So if I put 5, it's going to remember the 5 past interactions. So I'm going to just leave it like that. And then in tools, I can connect multiple tools. For example, I have connected Gmail. Okay, because I already have my Gmail account set up, so I'm just going to leave it like that. But I can connect multiple tools, right? So suppose I've connected Gmail, I can go and connect Davily tool as well. It's an API. So that also I have kind of connected. That's why I'm going with it. So I've connected this. Similarly, I can connect like multiple tools, right? And I can give information to agent. It will use an intelligent model in the background to do the stuff, maintain the memory, and then access the tool. For example, it can access my calendar and then start replying to people in Gmail, right? Or say, for example, it is accessing my WhatsApp chat and it is replying to people or stuff like that, right? So this is how you can create your AI agent. I've created one AI agent which is linked to my Atlassian. It's getting the data from Jira. It is giving to the agent, it's creating the test cases, and it's giving it back to Jira. I can also like start sending email or notifications to people on Slack whenever a defect is raised in Jira, or like look into knowledge base and start replying to those defects on like how to fix it, right? So this is how you can combine multiple tools together and make a really useful and powerful agent for your day-to-day use. I hope you found this video useful, and I would see you in the next video soon. Thanks for watching.